Hey, everyone. How are you? Welcome to Lunch Break with ATI. I'm Cindy Collins, one of the co-founders of Actors Theater of Indiana, the professional resident theater company at the Center for the Performing Arts in Carmel, Indiana, USA. And today, our guest is Jane Hachia Weiner. Jane Hachia Weiner, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Jane and I have never met, so this is always interesting for me when people come on the podcast who I've never even met before. So it's always nice to meet a new person all the time. We're doing that all the time in this business. Every week you meet new people, which is fantastic. And you are the artistic director of the Ballet Theater of Carmel.
That is correct.
But academy as well. We want to get that in, right?
Yes.
So it is an academy, pre-professional academy. And so let's just dive right in. Okay, let's just dive right into what this whole animal of yours is about.
Of course. We are a non-for-profit organization.
Yes.
And we focus on classical ballet as the main training item. We also teach a little bit of contemporary and modern.
Okay.
My main goal is to prepare dancers, should they choose, to be relevant in the collegiate and also the professional fields in ballet, both nationally and international. We espouse the American Ballet Theater National Training Curriculum, which is a 9-level
ABT,
ABT curriculum.
Yep.
And our teachers are certified in that, so we have a good pedagogy syllabus.
That's nice.
So we take the business seriously, but we also want it to be a place where young people come and find their heart's desire and their joy in the dance studio. So that's what we're about.
Where do you where's your studio? Where's not where you perform? We'll get to the
Right.
Where
Our current main facility is, ironically, is not a Carmel address. It is on the south side of 96th Street and Ditch Road.
Okay.
It is the southeast corner, southeast corner of 96th and Ditch. And we operate 2 studios, sometimes 3 out of that location.
That's nice. That's great. But when you perform, when you do your performances, are you at Zionsville Performing Arts Center all the time?
We do our 2, so during the year we produce 2 full-length ballets. Of course, the audience favorite, The Nutcracker, in December.
Yes.
And then in the spring, we will cycle through 4 to 5 standard repertory ballets from the classical rep.
Okay.
And our home theater right now is Starbank Performing Arts Center, Zionsville Performing Arts Center.
Which is very nice. We were talking about that before,
Yes, we were
before we
just talking
started.
about what a lovely
It's a
venue.
really nice venue. ATI, that was the first venue we were in when we came in from New York. And so, yeah, it really is very impressive, like we were saying, for our high school.
Absolutely. And the staff there are very knowledgeable
Yeah.
and they're very savvy and seasoned.
Well, the
having
arts,
hosted
the
so
arts
many
there in that
different
high school are very good.
Yes.
I've seen those kids.
I agree.
They're super talented.
And the audiences that we draw in that particular venue are very, very sophisticated and I don't want to sound like a snob, but they come in appreciating
I know what you're
theater
saying. Yeah,
before-
we're in an area that
Yes.
thank goodness that is the
Yes.
case.
Yes.
I agree with you. Well, let's hold on. Let's go back. Let's rewind. How did you even become get into dance? Become a dancer?
my gosh.
What was your journey? What was your path?
Oh, how sweet.
And how you ended up being
In
the
Indiana.
artistic director and in Indiana, because you said you're from the East Coast.
A little further east than that, I was born and raised in Japan.
Okay.
My father was U.S. military. My mother was Japanese.
Okay. Which is already interesting, right there.
It was fun to grow between 2 cultures.
Yes.
And at the age of 17, I got hired by a company in Tokyo named the Inoue Ballet Company. I started as an apprentice there at 17, right out of high school. In about 8 years, I was appointed principal. Well, before that, 5 years or so, I was appointed principal dancer. This is where I met so many of my mentors and coaches that are relevant to the performance we're about to do.
Right.
And this is ancient history. The dinosaurs were roaming down Main Street as I was dancing. So we hail way, way back. And that's, I'm not shy about my age, but I also want that to be an asset to our dancers also.
That's
that
right.
There's a little bit of accumulated knowledge that's been passed down to me through the time. Eventually, at the end of about 8 years in Tokyo, I had a desire to expand my knowledge of the dance world and came to the States through
Okay.
Boston Ballet, and then was hired by Indianapolis Ballet Theater
Okay.
when they suddenly lost a dancer mid-season. So that was a very nice break for me,
Wow.
that I was basically hired without an audition, and
Yeah.
then Indianapolis
That's
has been my home ever since.
Oh my
and I
gosh.
retired from professional dancing quite a while back in order to start a family and be able to raise children.
Yeah.
And then I have taught in the area, Butler Ballet,
Right. Right. Sure.
and such for up until now. And back in 2009, joined Performers Edge Dance Theater.
Oh.
Ron Morgan
Yes.
was the director back
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Ballet theater, and he's a great mentor of mine also,
Okay.
although I shouldn't. We're about the same age, so I
Yes.
don't know if he wants to be called a mentor. Great friend, and we had a ballet department within.
Was
his
that when they were
bigger
over an
school.
old? When they
That's
were
right.
at their old
That's right.
building?
That's
Yeah.
right. And when he chose to move away from running a school and focusing on his directorship work, producer work with musical theater,
Yeah.
we took some parents and created a non-for-profit and continued
Okay.
providing the ballet education.
Yeah, because I remember that whole building just
Yes,
started-
things changed so quickly in
It
Carmel.
really was. They were all of a sudden. Performers Edge was like, I'm like, what happened? Where'd it go? They kind of rented out part of it for jazzercise. I remember that was, and then they had this, and then it. Then,
Right.
you know.
So our sister school is Performers Edge Dance Theater. Jamie, the teacher of
Okay.
the competition and the contemporary work,
Okay.
has established a school on Range Line Road.
Okay.
And we established
Good.
our ballet academy over there on 96th and Ditch.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good. I mean, that's wonderful that
So
things
that's
just
my
did.
brief history. In a
Well,
nutshell.
let me ask you something. So you were born in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
There's your dad. Your dad stayed in Japan, obviously.
yes.
They got married. He stayed there.
Yes.
But there you were in that household with an American father,
Mm-hmm.
a Japanese mother. Do you have any siblings?
No, I was an only child from
Okay.
this particular marriage of his.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you grew up obviously fluent in Japanese and in English,
Right. I think
which
the
is Japanese
came
is
first.
a very hard. It's a very hard language.
Well, there's nothing to relate to. It's not like there's the common Latin roots or anything.
There's nothing. It's
so-
not like a romance language or anything.
No,
It's very difficult. Our daughter is in her 4th year of Japanese,
Ah,
and she loves
God
it.
bless her. Yes.
She loves it, and she's very good. And I'm just like this. I feel like an idiot, And she's like, yes, the content, and she's.
I love it.
I'm like, oh my God. And I love that she, we love that she loves that. But yeah, that must have been like, first thing 2 languages, right, boom, right off the bat. You
well,
are
the
bilingual.
English came second.
You know?
The English,
Yeah.
and what's funny, the English came second, and I went to kindergarten in a Catholic kindergarten, and the nuns were from Australia. So my first English was very heavily Australian.
Yeah, oh my
accented,
gosh.
Which was kind of fun,
Oh
But,
my gosh, yes.
but
Wow.
yes, because of my schooling being at the American school, English did follow suit.
And then when you were like, okay, you started dancing when you were probably itty bitty. Did you?
I was a little late. It was a little older. I was 7.
Well, hello. 7.
7.
I mean, for ballet, yes.
these
that
kids
is,
started 3.
I know, but there you
I was
were,
7.
and then you were, when you, did you, when you were like, okay, I'm going to the States, were you like, I'm going to the States, or you just were like, look, I just need to roam outside of Japan,
Well, the company in Tokyo did send us. My director sent me to Paris to do a course of study with my French coach, so I had experience living in Toulouse, France, and Paris for 2 months at a time. And then we did a little touring with our company into Scotland, of all places, England, and also Italy. So had the taste of Europe. I was also sent for a course of study to New York with one of my other coaches. And then I had a taste of New York.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to come back to Fifth Avenue someday.
And there you were in Boston, in Beantown.
Right.
So pretty close. Yeah, take the train, you know. But okay, so did you get that at the Boston Ballet? How did you get that position?
Well, it was.
What happened?
What happened was when I was working in Tokyo, one of our contacts was the artistic director of the Paris Opera Ballet, and at the time, her name is Violette Verdi.
Okay.
Many people recognize her name in the dance business.
Yeah.
We hired a guest artist from the Paris Opera to partner me in Tokyo, and she was our contact person. So I got to know Violette through my work in the Tokyo Ballet Company, the Inoue Ballet in Tokyo. So when I was ready to, and I did, it was a hard leave taking, but I did leave Tokyo and wanted to kind of start fresh in the United States. Violette happened to be the artistic director of the Boston Ballet.
Okay.
And so, almost incognito, she let me come in and take classes and get back in shape. There's such a thing when you leave the studio for anything over 6 months, you have to almost start from the beginning in any sort
But
of
your muscle
theater
memory,
arts.
though kicks in.
Well, we tried, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that school year, she moved on to a different position, and a new interim director came in, and I had the option of staying and, staying on at Boston Ballet. But then in the meantime, somebody who was a principal dancer at Boston Ballet had pulled me aside and said, look, Indianapolis Ballet Theater just lost a dancer due to injury. They need someone very much, and would you explore that option? And
It's nice.
so
So you have people helping you along the way. Everybody has people helping them. And, nobody gets anywhere without some help.
No, it really, really is the kindness of people and good fortune. You know, I'm not extraordinary in any way, shape, or form except for the lucky breaks I've had my whole career. And so,
How about that?
It's been a great.
You're just humble.
It's been a great ride.
Yeah. So then, so when here you are. My God, you just came over by yourself. I mean, they were just like, Violette was like, come over, start taking classes in Boston, and there you were by yourself.
I had my dad's relatives. I stayed with my Aunt Jessie.
Okay.
So that was cool.
Okay, that's, that helps, right? So you weren't just like, here I am, and, right? Oh my gosh, that's exciting. It's exciting. Things like that are exciting when you're young. You're like, it's an adventure.
I could never do that now. But back then I didn't know any better, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
And so that landed me at Indianapolis Ballet Theater, and the original director that I was hired by is a man by the name of George Verdak, and here comes the connection to the Spring Ballet, which we're about to do. George Verdak was a member of the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo.
Okay.
Which is the second iteration of the Ballet Russe, which we honor during our spring ballet.
Okay.
And Ballet Russe.
Yeah, so here's the
existed.
notes.
Here's my notes.
Come on, we don't want to get anything wrong.
Yes, my wonderful board member and marketing manager has sent me with very, very great notes. The Ballet Russe, the original, was in existence between 1909 and 1929. So we're talking the golden age of ballet.
Yes.
The Ballet Russe creators were refugees who left Russia because of the revolution and became French and British and American citizens eventually.
Okay.
And they really revolutionized, as many ballet domains know, the course of ballet as we know it. And the second iteration of Ballet Russe, when their producer, director, and founder Sergei Diaghilev passed away in 1929, was Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, and another offshoot that went down to South America. Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo is very connected to what we do here in the United States.
Okay.
And out of the dancers and creators of the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo come so many of our founding mothers and fathers of most of the ballet companies in existence today. So we're only talking, 2-3 lifetimes away.
Yeah.
So in my personal case, there's two names I want to drop. Sir
Sure.
Anton Dolan. He was born in 1904. He was actually a member of the original Ballet Russe, the one that existed until 1929.
Right.
And he came to Tokyo to set a piece of his. And so I was in the studio being coached by someone from the original Ballet
my
Russe.
God. Yeah.
The other one is Serge Liffard, who was born in 1905, also a member of the original Ballet Russe. And he was in the studio with me in Paris, coaching me for Giselle. And so with that, you know, it's like pixie dust that someone sprinkled on me. And we really want to send that on down to the next
That's
generation.
right. That's what it's about. It's about the next generation teaching the next generation, teaching the next generation from these masters, really.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
and it really, that is really important. And then I'm sure from that, everybody putting in their own,
Absolutely.
their
yes.
own style, their own concept of it, and that's how. I mean, that's a collaboration right there from
Yes.
what you learn. And now, okay, now I'm going to pass this on, but I got my own stuff too
Well,
here.
and
You know what I
it kind of
mean?
necessitates that because, you know, Michael Fokine is the original choreographer of two of the ballets that we're doing. Those have, you know, royalty rights.
Of course, it all
So
everything does.
I can't go on YouTube and copy paste his choreography.
no.
But we could use his libretto and kind of preserve the spirit of what he's done
Yeah.
in these ballets that we present. You know, and I was just thinking, what fancy thing am I going to say on this podcast? You know, I was thinking, you know, a fruit.
Because
What?
we're very fancy.
We are.
here.
We're very fancy today. In my work clothes.
Yeah, right. I'm like,
Nice.
hello.
But you know, a fruit grows on a tree and it gets nourishment from the tree. And so you kind of need to pay attention to the trees and the vines from which we came for that fruit of our work to be legitimate. And at the same time, you know, times change and
Yes.
our social climate is different.
Yes.
So we need to infuse it with the values and the ideas of the present day, but it can't be separate from
The history of it,
The-
and the
the
core.
source of
It's
it.
really the core of it.
Right.
You know, like you said, the roots, the core,
roots.
and where it all comes from. Because if everything comes from something, so if you
Everything
don't
comes
have
from
that core, there's nothing.
Exactly.
There's nothing.
We really do. And you know, these Ballet Russe people back in the day were revolutionaries and changing the ballet, and no one had seen anything
And you know,
like this
and you
before.
don't realize like we don't not you maybe, but you look back in your history of your business, right? And you look back in the history of what you do, and you're like, you know, it doesn't seem like it now, but then you go back and you look and you're like, you know, they really were ahead of their time.
They were.
And they really were trying to say something. Same in musical theater, they're really trying to say something. Maybe they couldn't say it all the way because of the times, but they were really pushing that envelope.
They were, and we get it now.
Right.
And there's so many choreographers and directors who look back with such endearment on these people who really paved the way.
Right.
You know, and especially if you look at Ballet Russe history, the idea of one impresario who brought together, you know, the painters and the composers and created these productions and put on these beautiful ballets, and some of them were scandalous for the time. There were people walking out of theaters. They were throwing, I don't know where they got the tomatoes. but I heard-
Vegetables?
yes.
The old vegetable throw?
Yeah, the vegetable throw.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know, but they
Tuck it under their coat. They're like, listen, if we don't like this, I have some cabbage. What do you have? I have a rotten tomato. Perfect.
isn't that something? I mean, they couldn't go online to Instagram and say anything, so they had to throw vegetables on stage.
God.
Can you imagine
Yeah,
being
I
a
mean,
dancer back in the day
yeah.
and having vegetables thrown at
Booing
you? God
and
bless
oh
them.
my God, you're dodging rutabagas. That's an art in itself. That comes then you learn new choreography. You're like, you know what you did when you dodged that carrot? That was
God, that
great.
was
Keep
really
it. Perfect.
That is so fun
Oh my
to
gosh.
think about those people.
Yeah,
what
it's
they
it's
went
it's
through.
wild, you know, and like you say, times do change, but that's okay, you know. It's okay if times change. You just have to, you know where you're coming from, and it all kind of that all works together. Let me ask you. So coming up, let's talk about what is coming up.
So,
I have this little card that says Enchanted Tales.
yes, Enchanted
That's your
Tales.
next.
Yes, and we've done some. We usually do Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella or Swan Lake, and it's a full-length story ballet. And we are doing a triple bill.
Yes, I
And
see.
it really is honoring the legacy of our founding mothers and fathers
Okay.
who had this time in Paris, which was the golden age. So you'll see a lot of Paris inferences
Yes.
and a lot of Art Deco, Art Nouveau
Oh, that's nice.
things. We're hoping to bring that into the lobby. It's one of my favorite
Oh, that's nice.
times.
Oh, that's
of-
cool.
Yeah.
Because it's an experience. It's
Absolutely.
immersive. So you
You
walk
want
in,
to
it's an
immerse
experience.
in the
Yes,
experience.
exactly.
We're going to start, open the curtain on a ballet called the Les Sylphides, and this is set to the music of Chopin.
Oh.
It's called, it's a typical ballet blanc, as they call it, a white ballet.
Oh,
As for the costumes,
Right.
it's a romantic reverie set to music by Chopin, in which ethereal woodland sylphs dance in the moonlight with a young poet.
oh, that's beautiful.
So, I want audiences to come in and feel like they're on their back porch and they've just, the solar lamps are just coming on and the
Yeah.
fireflies are beginning and
Yeah.
they have a little wine
Little
and
summer
cheese.
night.
That's the
That's
feeling
nice.
I'd like to get
Yeah.
with this opening piece.
Yeah.
The second act is dedicated completely to Anna Pavlova,
Oh,
who was
yes.
one of the greatest ballerinas of the original
Yes.
Ballet Russe.
Yes.
She lived from 1881 to 1931.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Although
has,
she was very famous. My gosh.
there's photos and there's even
Yeah.
film footage of her dancing. So we take 3 of her iconic solos, the Dragonfly, which she danced, a ballet called La Peri, which is a peri is a Indian celestial creature, and there's a long ballet about Alexander the Great and his encounter with the celestial creature. We just take a little 1-minute solo of that. We're not going to make you sit through the 4-hour ballet. And then we're going to finish that act with the infamous,
Yeah.
famous
Yeah.
Dying Swan, which is
Okay.
her signature piece.
Okay.
And our advanced dancers do a beautiful job
Oh, that's great.
interpreting those roles.
That's wonderful.
So that's our middle piece. And then we close with Firebird.
Right, which is like we were talking about. It's making its rounds right now.
It really is. It
I
seems
mean,
like,
all of a sudden it's like Firebird is everywhere.
yes,
You know.
and we really love the image of the Firebird. It's the resurrection bird. It's the renewal bird.
Yes.
And it is
From the ashes.
from the ashes and the savior of the Prince Ivan in this story.
Okay.
And so our Firebird, where is it? Here it is. It's based on the legend of the title character, and she's a powerful, good spirit endowed with magical feathers who helps the heroic Prince Ivan rescue his beloved princess from Kache the Deathless, who is the evil sorcerer.
That's very exciting.
So we do let our dancers kind of indulge in the villain roles and
Well, that's fun,
and
though.
the dark
That's fun.
parts, and so
Yeah.
that we can contrast with
Yep.
and Stravinsky's score to
Oh.
that is difficult yet very exciting. And
Well,
so-
and it's when you have a challenge, then you do it. There's nothing like it. You're
Yes.
like, my gosh, look what we did, and the dancers must feel so good about themselves,
do.
especially
They
being
do.
young kid. They're kids,
Right.
they're kids, and so
my little ones are so happy about getting to be like evil minions, and so
and they're so cute,
And
I
they're
mean,
so
they're so
good with
cute at
that.
that age, right? And that's great. You incorporate all the kids
all the
in this.
the youngest cast members are 5 years old.
Oh my gosh.
They come from a program called the Be a Fairy program, in which young dancers who have never danced with our studio, or even dancers who haven't danced yet, because there is such a thing, would like to experience being in a full-length ballet. We have an 8-week program where they can come and learn a very small vignette of the dance.
Okay.
In the Firebird, they would be the fairies of the golden apple tree.
Okay.
And so they will come and they will offer their dancing, and then it's just a short little segment.
Yeah, but everybody's involved.
everybody's involved. They
Everyone's
see the
involved.
backstage. They get to see the older
That's
dancers.
fantastic.
They get to take
Yeah.
pictures with.
Yeah,
And on the
that's
other
great.
end, we have 2 alumna who are now dancing in the professional world.
I was going to ask who, because some just do it and they love it and they go on and they may even dance in college or they may,
Yes.
and then they find another path. But there are some that, of course, go into the profession
Yes.
and that, especially in ballet, that's a shorter that's a shorter career.
That's a shorter career.
That's yeah.
And it's hard work. We have more than 2 who are dancing in the professional world, but these 2 happen to be available between their
good.
contracts, and so they're coming to guest as our Firebird.
Oh, fantastic.
And then we have two young men from Indiana University's Jacobs School of Music Ballet Department,
Yes.
which is another tier above what we offer in our school.
Yep.
So we're hoping to have these young people with us to
that's
kind
nice.
of inspire and influence our
Sure. That's great for the kids.
16,
You have,
15-year-olds.
to have, they'll be, to see the professionals,
see
and they're
how
working with professionals,
Yes.
Yeah. And you're a professional too, of course, running it.
Well,
so,
but we're mom and dad, and we're
Yeah.
the teachers,
Yeah.
and we say the same things over and over again, and so, we're just family.
it's nice, but it's
So
nice to get
to-
other people. It's getting everybody, getting other people and a fresh take involved is always great,
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
And for them to be working with these people who are working professionally in the field is very important. And I think it's great that you do that.
Thank
know,
you. We appreciate that
When
opportunity.
is this? When is it? It's at the Zionsville Performing Arts Center in Zionsville. It's the high school. The Performing Arts Center is
Very nice,
fantastic. It's
very
really nice.
Very nice.
Um,
Very pleased with their
yeah.
lighting equipment.
Yeah.
We're just so happy that they make our ballets and any stage production.
Oh
looks
yeah,
so
because
beautiful
they
there.
do their own productions there, the
Yes,
kids, and they're
yes,
good.
yes.
So when is it?
May 24th, which is Friday evening,
Okay.
and May 25th, Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
That is Memorial Day weekend. But
my
last year
gosh.
when we did Sleeping Beauty,
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one,
That
but
is.
we do have people who would like a moment away
Yes.
from, the
yes.
hubbub of this particular city
Yes.
to come and enjoy a little bit of beauty.
Oh my
a
gosh!
little bit
And
of
how do you get
history.
tickets?
You can
What's
get
your
tickets.
on your
You
website?
can go to www.ballettheaterofcarmel.org. There's a page we could click right on.
Just put ballet theater. I mean, I'm sure if you just even run in ballet theater of Carmel, everything's going to pop
Yeah,
up.
I think there's a promo code.
Oh.
You can use coupon code today, just for our viewers today.
Oh, look at that!
All uppercase Tails Lunch. TALESLUNCH.
Tails lunch.
Because we're having a lunchtime conversation about Enchanted Tales.
Tails lunch.
And it is
All right.
$5 off for up to 5 tickets.
That's great.
And if this is confusing information, just go to our website,
go to the
give us a call,
Just go to
and we'll explain all about your coupon code.
Just go to the Carmel Ballet Theater. You'll find everything there. Just pop that up. Everything pops right up. We have everything at our fingertips these days.
Exactly.
So there's no excuse about I couldn't find it. I couldn't find this. I couldn't find that. It's all right there on your little laptop and wherever. Your phone. So
Yeah.
no excuses, right?
And not only that, we have vintage costumes from Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, which we have inherited. So we'll have a few items like that
Oh, how
on
ex-
display in the
wow,
lobby. but
that's
also
cool.
on stage. So,
That's awesome.
if you're going to be old, you may as well capitalize on it. And we have history. We have history to offer.
Again,
we have
very important.
color schemes from the past.
Yes.
If you like anything Art Deco, Art Nouveau,
Yeah, I love that
we're
stuff.
the right place
Oh, I love
for
that.
that. If you like beautiful music by Chopin, Stravinsky,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to see dancers who are trained in this particular art form to understand nuance and quiet and stillness and also dynamics, we're the right place. So we're looking forward to inviting many
Excellent.
people to our afternoon.
Yes, please support the arts, support ballet. That's a hard, it's difficult, It's a difficult section of the performing arts. It's you always got to start thinking outside the box and what are we going to do and what's going to keep people entertained, but still keep our not sell out,
Right.
as
We
I
need-
say,
we need to- we need to stay on the vine.
Yes,
So,
yes,
yes.
yes, I agree. But oh my gosh, well, kudos to you, Jane.
Thank you.
And-
Thank you for having
Oh
me
my gosh,
today,
no,
and
thank you
best
so
wishes
much.
to the theater company
sure,
and
thank
all
you.
of your exciting things.
Yeah.
We're happy that you're here to,
Oh,
beautify and excite the art scene
Oh,
in
well, you're
Carmel
very
and
kind.
Central
But
Indiana.
vice versa.
Yeah.
It's important that it's important to keep the performing arts
Yes.
alive in this
Absolutely.
area, and it's important on all levels.
That's right.
On all levels.
That's right.
From your 5-year-olds
Absolutely.
to us to beyond.
There is a magic to live performance. That can
Yes,
never
there
be
is. There's nothing
repeated
like it.
on YouTube.
No, there's nothing like sitting in the audience and watching any live performance. There is no feeling like it when you see something. It's inspiring, keeps you inspired as a performer, and inspires people that are not performers but who want to keep the arts alive.
That's right.
And there were arts lovers and arts, appreciate the arts and give the money to keep the arts going. Let's
That's
call,
right.
hey,
does.
that's part two. But well, thank you so much, Jane. And
Thank you.
please go see this performance at Designsville Performing Arts Center, May 23rd and 24th, 24th and
Friday,
25th.
the Friday
It's
and
it's
Saturday,
it's
24th,
it's
25th.
Memorial Day weekend, but take a break from your revving your engines and go and see some art. Class it up a little bit.
That's right. Don't forget. Tails Lunch, $5 off.
Tails
after
Lunch.
5.
That's your code. Tails Lunch. Thank you. And thank you. Coming up for ATI, before we get off of this, is the reading called It Girl. It's about Evelyn Nesbit. It's by Paige Scott. That will be at the Carmel Public Library this Saturday, the 16th. And it's a brand new work. It's part of the Theater Lab series for Actors Theater of Indiana, where new works are presented in a reading style. It is free. You can actually go to atistage.org or go to the Carmel Public Library website, and all you have to do is make a reservation. It's free, and come and see a new work. It's very interesting. I'm actually taking part in it, and it's all about Evelyn Nesbit, who really was kind of considered the first it girl. And so very interesting story about her life, taking place between the years 1902 and 1905, 06. It was the huge crime of the century, is what they called it, between when Harry Thaw killed Stanford White, and it was a big hullabaloo, and it kind of leads up to that and what her life was about. So anyway, that's that. And then next we have for main stage Forbidden Broadway, and that is so much fun, and that's going to be new material. It always is. This is about the 5th production that ATI has done of it, and there's always new material. So and that's always a lot of fun. And that is our last show of the season, April, May. So thank you so much. I'm Cindy Collins, Jane, and Hashia Weiner.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Look at that. And artistic director of the Carmel Ballet Theater. My gosh. So thank you so much. I've never spoken before in my life, so this is the
Neither
first
have
time.
I, but it was fun. Thank you.
Clearly. Anyway, thanks so much. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my
It
gosh,
was
of
lovely.
course. Thank you.
was
Likewise.
lovely. Thank you.
Likewise.
Are we still on?
So